Hi everyone, this is Arvind from MindMajix, and today I welcome you all to this amazing session on Azure DevOps interview questions. Okay, so this is one such topics around which we have been receiving maximum requests from our users and viewers. Okay, so just to give you an idea about what exactly is Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is basically software as a service platform which is provided by Microsoft. So it enables the developers and DevOps teams to develop and deploy applications through an end-to-end DevOps tool chain. So it also provides a collaborative and integrated environment supporting continuous integration, Git, and agile tools to plan and track your work. So the set of processes and a collaborative culture bring together the project managers, developers, and contributors for developing the software. So this was the whole background about Azure DevOps. So if you talk about this session, so in this session, basically we are roughly covering 40 questions and we have categorized these questions into three categories. So the first category of questions is for freshers, so roughly 15 questions. And then the next 15 questions are for the experienced candidates. And after that, roughly 10 questions will be the most frequently asked questions on Azure DevOps. So this is the whole idea, or you can say the agenda behind this video. And I hope everyone is clear with the agenda. So the first question is, what do you mean by Azure Boards? So this Azure DevOps service is used for managing the project of the software, and the various abilities offered by it are reporting, dashboards, Kanban, and Scrums. So backlogs, queries, dashboards, sprints, and work items are essential features of Azure Boards. The next question is, what do you mean by Azure Pipelines? So it is considered one of the most important cloud services. So with the help of Azure pipelines, the project codes can be built as well as tested automatically. So with the aid of the major languages and the kind of projects, it does its work productively. So the project code is shared with the other customers as well by using this feature. The next question is, what do you mean by Azure Repos? Or you can say the repositories. So this system version control is used for managing the code and various versions by the use of lifecycle of the development. So it can also track the multiple changes in the code using different teams. So the list of changes can then be used for coordination and collaboration between the teams in the future. So centralized version control as well as distributed version control is its essential feature. So an example of distributed version control can be Git, and an example of centralized version control is the TFVC. The next question is, what do you mean by Azure Artifacts? So Azure Artifact is an extension making it easy to install, discover, and publish the packages such as NPM, NuGet, and Maven in Azure DevOps. So the package management becomes a smooth process in the existing workflows because of its deep integration with other hubs such as the build. So if you talk about the Microsoft Azure dashboard, so inside that dashboard, here you can see in the artifacts, and in this symbol, this is the plus symbol. So using this plus symbol, you can create a new artifact. So the next question is, what do you mean by Azure test plans? So this Azure DevOps service is used for managing all the test solutions. So exploratory testing, manual planned testing, and customer testing are all provided under this one service. So testing exploration as well as the stakeholders feedback storage is maintained by its extensive browser. So testing explorations and manuals are essential techniques for product development because they are considered the reason for testing automation. The next question is, what do you mean by a multi-stage pipeline? So CI, CD, or both are allowed by a multi-stage pipeline in a single YAML pipeline code. So being easy to maintain and easy to check the current stage of our deployment is among the many benefits which is provided by multi-stage pipeline. The next important question is, mention or list some of the benefits of Azure pipelines. So there are many benefits provided by Azure pipelines such as integration with GitHub, integration with Azure deployments, the ability to work without any, I repeat, the ability to work with any platform or language, the ability to deploy and work on multiple targets at the same time, and configuration of open source projects, and you can build on vendors, I repeat, and you can build on Windows, Linux, and Mac machines. The next question is, what is meant by the pull request in Azure DevOps Repos? So pull requests are used for reviewing as well as merging the codes to a Git project. So pull requests enable the team to review the code and also provide a feedback on it. Either feature or topic branch along with a fork can be the source of pull requests. So as you can see inside this, so basically this is a screenshot of the Azure dashboard. So inside this, you have this repos and here you have the files. So files are nothing but the files of your code or your application. The next question is, explain forks in Azure DevOps. So we can separate the risky, confidential, and experimental changes from our original code base with the help of forks. So fork is a whole new copy of code collection that includes commits, branches, and files. So a fork seems like a repository that has been cloned and pushed to a new and empty repository. So the fork files and branches can't be shared with the original code base once a fork is created, but a pull request can carry them along. The next question is, list some of the features of Memcached. So if you talk about the features of Memcached, so here you have callbacks, CAS tokens, itinerary, and get delayed. Apart from this, you also have binary protocol. The next question is, mention why Azure Boards should be used. So there are a few reasons why you must use Azure Boards. So first, it is interactive visual tools that has been provided by Azure Boards. So here, scaling makes it easy to begin as the level rises. And with Azure Boards, you have inbuilt tools that enable social communication as well. Apart from this, you get the extensibility and easy to customizable feature as well. So with Azure Boards, you have the flexibility and easy storage of collected data. Apart from this, identifying the needs and notifying the changes is very easy with Azure Boards. And the progress and the status are observed in the dashboard using Azure Boards. The next question is, differentiate between Jira and Azure DevOps. So Atlassian Jira is a well-known application lifecycle management tool. It is especially liked by the Agile teams. So originally it was a bug tracking tool, but now it has grown more into a comprehensive tool that now contains many software development and management tools. So the main intention of this tool is to keep things on track. And Azure DevOps, on the other hand, not only tracks but extends to the building and development as well. The next question is, why is Selenium used in DevOps? So the use of Selenium in DevOps is for continuous testing. So its specialization include functional and regression testing as well. So guys, you must be knowing there are various stages in the DevOps lifecycle, and one such stage is the continuous testing. So basically, Selenium as a tool is used for the automation of the overall continuous testing process. The next important question is, what do you mean by roles? So roles are the types of servers that helps us towards common aim achievement. So these are managed as well as loaded as virtual machines. So if you talk about the types of roles, so here you have worker role, web role, and VM role. The next question is, what are the different types of backlogs and board options that are available in Azure Boards? So three classes of backlogs that are available in Azure are product, portfolio, and sprint. And there are two types of boards which are available, such as Kanban and task board. So the next important question is, tell us something about fault domains. So they are the logical hardware groups that can share the same power source as well as the network. So they are used for racking the data centers on premise, and these fault domains get automatically distributed by the Azure platforms when the VMs are designed using the available sets. So this approach limits the network outages, physical hardware failures, and so on. The next question is, tell us something about the update domains feature. So they are the logical hardware groups that can be rebooted as well as maintained at the same time. So these updated domains get automatically distributed when the VMs are designed using the available sets. So this ensures our application instance as well as the running of the Azure platform is under periodic maintenance. So only a single order of updates can be rebooted at a time. The next question is, How can Azure Ad applications be used? So secured and a simple way is provided to select and connect with the web applications by using this feature. So the same as the software as a service applications access can also be accessed in the Azure. So it doesn't require a virtual private network to change the infrastructure of the network. The next question is, what is VNet? So the rendering of our cloud network refers to the VNet. So our launched cloud instances get isolated from the remaining resources with the help of VNet. So the next question is, what is meant by system capabilities and user capabilities in the Azure pipeline? So the self-hosted agent contains a set of capabilities that defines the scope of the various capabilities. So the name value pairs are referred to as capabilities. So they are called system capabilities when they get discovered automatically by the agent software. On the other hand, they are called user capabilities when they are defined by us. So system capabilities such as operating system name, machine name, and other installed software are detected by the agent software. The next question is, what is the Azure CLI command used to run the pipeline? So guys, as you can see on the screen, these are the various commands that are used to run the pipeline. As you can see here, AZ pipelines run, and inside the square braces, you have specified -branch. After that, you have the commit ID, folder path, ID, name, open, org, project, and variables. The next question is, elaborate the self-hosted agent in Azure pipelines. So self-hosted agents allow us to set up as well as manage jobs on our own. So we opt for self-hosted agents when we want more access to installing dependent software as per our requirements and deployments. So also the speed can be boosted by the persistence of machine level cache and configuration from run to run. The next question is, elaborate Microsoft hosted agents in the Azure pipeline. So it is by default Microsoft agents that gets the job executed. So from assigning the resources to installing and maintaining, everything gets done when we opt for this Microsoft hosted agent. The next important question is, what is a Dogpile effect and how can it be prevented? So the period after the cache expires and several requests have been made on the website from the client refers to the Dogpile effect. So the simplest of technique to avoid this effect is a semaphore lock. So the semaphore lock generates a new value after the cache has expired. The next question is, explain the use of Active Directory in Azure. So Active Directory is basically used for access management, and it helps in enabling access to the employees to particular products and services of our networks. So some major examples include salesforce.com and twitter.com. So application build support in galleries is provided by this Active Directory. The next question is, elaborate Azure Service Fabric. So this distributed system platform makes it simple for the package, scalable management, deployment, and microservices reliability. So development and management of the applications of the cloud can also be done by this. So hence developers can pay more attention to the critical implementation jobs. The next question is, tell us something about the Azure Redis cache. So this is basically an open source data structure. So it works as a database as well as a cache, and Azure Redis cache is made based on the famous Redis cache of the open source. So secured access from the Azure applications is provided with the help of this feature. So the structure of data, which are like strings, sets, and hashes along with queries, is maintained by this. The next question is, which containers are supported by Azure DevOps? So basically, before answering this question, you must answer what exactly is a container. So to package the software code, its dependencies and its configurations into a single object or a unit, you basically use the container. So multiple containers can be there working and sharing the operating system on the same machine. So this enables fast, consistent, and reliable deployments. So the following containers are supported by Azure DevOps, such as ASP.NET with containers, Docker, Azure Service Fabric app along with Docker support, and Azure Kubernetes services. The next question is, explain the function of Scrum Master in Azure Boards. So Scrum Master is always on the lookout to remove all the hindrances, resolve the impediments, and other blocking issues that arise during a sprint. So they are continuously ensuring the improvement of the team. So they can be called a part, I repeat. So they can be called part team members, part cheerleaders, and part coaches. The next question is, how can a Git repository be created in Azure DevOps? So guys, this I believe is a very important question. So there are a few steps that you must follow to create a Git repository in Azure DevOps. So first you must open the DevOps and then you have to select the respective project that you want. Okay. After that, you have to click on the repos or the repositories, and then you have to click on files from the repositories. As you can see here, we have selected the project and then the repos and the files. After that, you have to click on the new repository, as you can see over here in this snapshot. And after that, you have to choose the repository type as Git in the panel. So once you do that, you have to give the name to the repository, and then you have to add a README checkbox. And basically, this is completely optional to add a README file or not. Okay, and after that, you have to just click on the create button. So this is how you create a Git repository in Azure DevOps. So the next question is, mention some of the alternatives to Azure DevOps. So some of the main alternatives to Azure DevOps are GitHub, Jenkins, GitLab, Jira, TeamCity, Bitbucket, Octopus Deploy, and Amazon Web Services. The next question is, mention some of the advantages of using Azure DevOps. So there are a few advantages of using Azure DevOps, such as high efficiency, customer satisfaction, speedier code deployment in the market using a ceaseless integration and delivery. Apart from this, you have more collaboration between the operation and the development teams. Next, you have incessant improvements as well as reduced failures. And you have the transparency between different teams. Apart from this, you have speedier operational support and better adaptation. And last but not the least, you have robust infrastructure as well as IT performance. The next question is, which service is used for managing the Azure resources? So various services such as deployment, management, etc. are handled by the Azure Resource Manager. The next question says, differentiate between Azure DevOps Server and Azure DevOps Services. So Azure DevOps Server is an on-premise platform based on the SQL Server. So generally, enterprises opt for an on-premise platform whenever there is a need to access the SQL Server reporting services integrated with the Azure DevOps tools and the data. On the other hand, Azure DevOps Services are the cloud services of Microsoft Azure. So it offers highly reliable as well as scalable, globally available services. The next question is, what are the main components of Azure DevOps? So the main components of Azure DevOps are, as you can see on the screen, you have Azure Boards. So basically, work item tracking, agile planning, reporting, and visualization tools can be done using Azure Boards. Apart from this, you have the Azure Repos or the repositories. So this is basically a cloud-hosted private Git repositories are provided using Azure Repos. So you also have Azure Pipelines. So a language and a cloud-agnostic CI/CD platform supporting containers or Kubernetes. After this, you have the Azure Test Plans. So planned and an integrated testing solution is provided by Azure DevOps using Azure Test Plans. And last but not the least, you have the Azure Artifacts. So this is nothing but an integrated package management supporting NPM, Maven, NuGet, and Python package feeds from private or public sources. The next question is, elaborate on the job role of Azure DevOps Engineer. So an Azure DevOps Engineer is responsible for designing and implementing a scalable, strong, realistic, and practical cloud solution that would work for the clients. The next question is, which web applications can be deployed with Azure? So the web applications that can be deployed with Azure are PHP, ASP.NET, and WCF. The next question is, mention the different ways for connecting with a project in Azure DevOps. So there are different ways which can be followed to connect to a project. So first, you have to integrate with Team Explorer or Visual Studio. Then you can use Visual Studio Code, or you can use Web Portal as well. Apart from this, you have the Eclipse or the Team Explorer, and you have IntelliJ with Azure DevOps Services and Android Studio with Azure DevOps Services. The next question is, elaborate on the projects of Azure DevOps. So to gain experience, the projects of Azure DevOps are very important. So this helps in the Git repository and the code existence for designing the ceaseless delivery as well as the integration pipelines of Azure DevOps. So guys, as you can see over here, this is the snapshot of basically creating a project. So here you can see you have created a project, my first project, which is nothing but a demo project. Apart from this, you can also create the new project by clicking on this button over here, create project. The next question is briefly explain continuous monitoring. So DevOps and Agile are simultaneously used to develop the process through expectations and adoption. So we can constantly monitor the progress, infatuation, and the process visualization. And we will be provided with quick alerts in real time. So we can select the process as per our requirement through data analysis. So hence, continuous monitoring is of great help in the overall DevOps pipeline. So guys, with this, we have come to the end of this session on Azure DevOps interview questions. I hope you guys have enjoyed this session. And if you have any doubts or queries related to this session, then you can write them in the comments section. And my team is here to help or resolve your doubts and queries as early as possible. So guys, thank you so much for being with us. And I wish you all the very best for your upcoming interview. And have a good day.